fun. It's a little challenging, it's a little different, but it's really fun. And again, I like to change things up by I talked to my, call them my polka dots over in Sugar Hills Circle. But I was saying to my members that by changing sizes that we work on and kind of working on them over and over and over again, we're like really turning on our creative intuition. We are practicing those problem solving skills. We are working with new mediums. Just when you change it up, when you work in a different size and just change what you're always working on, magic, that's where the magic happens, my friends. That's where the magic happens, okay? So we have 21 prompts. Some are actual things like, let's see, I have boat, abstract figures, doorway, night sky, but then there's also gather, renew, encourage. Those are in kind of caps. That could be a whole theme if you wanted it to be. And then there's also techniques in here like add a pocket, start with collage, magazine letters and words, okay? And then working in the circle kind of adds to the challenge of that, right? So super fun, super fun. All right, there are some really good things on here. Of course, bounce around. They're not meant to go in order. Bounce it around or go in order. For some people, that's easier. All right. So what do you need? You need like a cereal box. You need a box from your pantry, from your cupboard, just with some good cardboard, okay? You need that, and then you need whatever you want to use. Like if you want to use watercolor paper, use watercolor paper. I think in this one I'm going to use mixed media paper. So I have this, but you know what else I have? Are tons of scraps. Tons of painted papers. Here's a piece of under paper, okay? I talk about this a lot. Yeah, the circle idea is going to be super fun. Under paper, depending on what you have. Now, this is a thicker piece of paper that I must have thrown under there. I would say it's probably at least 100 pound. It's not watercolor, it's nothing special. It's probably something I got when teaching my students, right? Good morning, good morning. Hey, I'm starting to see comments, yay. And I did do a jelly print over on the other side. So I technically will have two sides already. Now you can do plain white, okay? Just cut out plain white. You could use Bristol paper, watercolor paper, mixed media paper. I would just make sure that it's going to hold up to your art supply. So I wouldn't use printer paper, right? But look, here's just a scrap of 140 pound watercolor paper that has some things on it. Here's another piece, look at this mess. It's like a hot mess happened on this side. But if I cut this into a circle, and this is just a start in my journal, right? This is just a junk page. I could be very spurred on to do some abstract figures over this, maybe depending on where I cut it. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to turn you down, and we're going to do a lot of it right now. But then you want to make sure you're on the newsletter. You want to make sure you're over on my tube, following me over there, because that's where part 2 of putting this together, more of the painting, right? We're going to put it together, but we've got to have fun with, we've got to have fun making this pretty, right? All right, let me turn you down. There is nothing, there's nothing amazing about this, right? Cereal box, any box that you have, and a size circle that you like. Seriously, that's it. All right, I'm going to stay off these folds for this. This actually typically is one of my favorite boxes to start a regular journal on because I love that spine. I won't get rid of this after I cut these circles out. There's great cardboard here for some other things. I did cut one out just because I didn't want to completely bore you. with cutting. You certainly don't have to watch me cut circles. Let's just do this. And I'm going to set that aside because all cardboard is good cardboard. Now listen, if you have chipboard or something, this isn't super strong, but we are going to use our best friend. Dun, dun, dun. Can you read that? Gesso. We're going to use some gesso. You could glue papers on top of this if you wanted, right? So every layer that we do is going to give us another bit of strength. Now this is just a sweet little 21-page journal. It's actually going to be 22, 11 pages, right? So we really only need 11 circles. So it's not that bad. Here's our cover. All right. And then if you want to use all white, use all white. I'm going to stick up here and just trace out the circles. Now, you can, I would personally go on the inside of your trace for the inside pages, just so that your outer cover, your cardboard piece, is just a little bit bigger. Do you see how I'm kind of keeping my scissors just on the inside of my line? All right, it's going to give us just a bit. You can barely see it, but it'll give us just a little bit of extra. This is still keepable. This is still usable. It's still great. Throw that over on the side. Sometimes having some color on our pages is a lot easier to jump off of, to get a start with, than it is to just stare at all white. Now, white is fine. I like texture too. I like different pages, different pounds. All right, so you're just going to cut out, all you got to do is cut out 11 too, because it's two sides, so we'll have 22. So you kind of have a cover page or a bonus page. That's up to you and how you want to run. When we do these journals, we always have that extra page, right? You know what I have here? Where'd it go? I just was looking at it. I know you're here. This is a good one too. This is it's 114 pound. It's mixed media rough. It's got a little bit more texture to it. So I think I'm gonna put a couple of these in too. So it's just a little bit thicker than the regular mixed media, which is 98 pound. So I'm just gonna do a couple of these. So simple, right? So in the comments, let me know. I'm just going to cut straight right here. This is going to go right into my bits box. That is your best friend. What's your best friend when you need some papers? I'm cutting just on the inside of this pencil line. I don't care if they're not perfect. Some of you might have, what is it called? The Sizzlix. A hole punch with a size that you like. Go for it. I just grabbed whatever I had. So this is, what am I looking at here? I am looking at about 4 inches. Okay, so I've got about a 4-inch circle. I've got about a 4-inch circle. All right, and you can see, you know, they're all different. And what we're going to do, what you really need to do in the beginning, is just get some gesso. on these papers. So those of you that are new or don't know exactly what gesso is like primer, okay? Gesso originally had, was made from like chalk, let's say chalk residue. It primes your canvas. When you buy a canvas already primed, it has gesso already on it. It is a primer. It will make any surface water ready. So I'm not going to get the gorgeous blooms with watercolors as I would on watercolor paper, but I will be able to add some watercolor on this, and it will move versus not. Now, if you don't have gesso, just do a couple layers of white paint. I'm going to end up doing a couple layers of gesso. Okay. And you're going to get your circles cut out. And you decide if you like, you know, some pattern, find some pattern papers or make them all white. And then, listen, don't underestimate the power of a plain old hole punch and reinforcement label tabs, okay? The covers. I am serious when I say grab one of these things, grab some paint or get them on before, right? Spray them down with your inks if you want, paint them, put some watercolor on them, but these little guys, you just punch a hole. All right, and we'll do them all together. You're gonna end up doing them all together so that everything lines up. And then you put these reinforcements on. I don't have my glasses on. Let's see how close I got. I got pretty good. All right, and if you do these before, you don't have to worry about them. You don't have to worry about anything moving, okay? And then I probably will end up grommeting my cover pages because I like the way that looks. Get a small little binder clip. Okay. We can hold it together that way. Get some really cute, sweet ribbon. And you can hold it together that way. So you could do a lot of different things. Right? How cute once we get it all together, and you'll see in the video later. I whacked out my back, and so I'm a little behind on having things done. So we've got to do this in 2 steps, but if that gets tied, and then we have this little journal, you can start to see how simple, like making journals doesn't always have to be hard or complicated. All right. So don't you love the string? The string like screams June to me. It just reminds me of like lemonade, pink and yellow, right? It's got pinks and yellows and oranges. So of course I love it with that navy blue. It's like one of my favorite pieces ever. But it reminds me of lemonade and summer and maybe some citrus fruit starting to come. So just pick a ribbon that you love, get to cutting 11 pieces, 1, 2, right? 3, 4, 5, 6. You see how it just doubles. So 11, you're outside, get them primed, get some cardboard done, get those primed, and you'll be ready to go to start painting your outside of your journal cover. You could do so many different things, right? You could just paint, you can make it abstract, you can do, you can be very intentional with what you put on the outside. See that difference already, just with the 2 layers. Plus I'm using a really cheap, kind of really beat up, it's one of my favorite brushes, chip brush, so it's leaving a lot of lines. If you don't, a softer brush isn't going to leave those lines, but this is what I grabbed, and I don't mind them because it's just going to give me some texture underneath. So many different art snacks that we've done. You can see too how gesso is your best friend because it gives this nice transparency to your artwork. And yes, this is another piece of underpaper that's going to turn into something amazing. Right? It's not whatnot on the gesso here. There we go. All right, I'm going to get that in water. How simple, right? So get some layers on there. Go ahead and paint your covers if you want. Okay, so some things that I want to reinforce again is I opened up my mixed media pad, right? I opened that up, and this is in the front, and it's just kind of like a scribbled whatever page. This is excellent to use for my circle pieces because it's got a little bit of mark on it. It's not going to hurt anything. I can cover it up, but it breaks that white space. So anytime you can kind of break a little bit of that white space, that's a good thing. So get those 11 squares. Don't think you need new paper. Look around and see what kind of garbage you have to make pieces on. Okay, I'm going to speed the video up and just enjoy watching the process as I cut my 11 pages out. My circles are about 4 inches. And then just the layering I do to paint the covers. Enjoy! Okay, so I played around with my covers. This is the inside. It's just painted right now. But the outside, these were kind of fun. And I did take them outside and did a little spray. I did satin this time. I didn't want them too super shiny. Okay, so I have that, and I have my 11 circles. Okay, so all of that and my 11 circles. Now, you can have a little bit of play. Sometimes you want things next to each other. So let's just kind of look at this. All right, so this could be my first page. Sometimes things work really, really well next to each other, and other times they're a little distracting. Like that blue, I might end up putting somewhere in the middle, although I have two of them. There's another. Oh, it's not too bad. What I'm going to do is I am going to hole punch this first one. Okay. I'm gonna hole punch. I'm gonna give myself enough space. I'll punch it, and then I'll measure. So, 1/4 of an inch. Say 1/4 of an inch down where you want to start your hole, and then you are going to just start lining up. And punching your hole, okay? And I don't want my cover hole to get too big, so I am going to just kind of, I could probably do 2 of these pages. So I'm just gonna put these together. And you kind of can feel, and I might not be able to punch this. Another way you can do it is you can just use a skewer or anything straight that you have if you have a binder clip, right? And then this one, you want to go back to your cover and make sure you have your covers lined up, because those matter a little bit more. So you want those covers nice and lined up. Okay, and then you're gonna do that hole. And you're gonna take your time with it so you get that right in there. And now your covers are perfect. All right, so now you have your front and back, and I just like to use that skewer because it holds everything in place while I'm working. That way I don't have to line up the holes that you punched 1,000 times. I grommeted and used those page reinforcements. All right, so you get your strands through, however many that you want. And then just tie it at the top until your journal is completely done. So that while you're using it, it's easy to get to your pages. And that's it. Voila, you've got your little circle journal.